Hello everyone, this is Jeff at Divine Cosmos, and this is my Law of Attraction Pearl of Wisdom number 14, the power of the spoken word. Most people know that imagination and visualization are potent tools for powerful manifestation, but many are less familiar with the power of the spoken word and how their voice contributes to the creation of their reality. When you voice your thoughts, intentions, and desires, especially if you do so passionately, you add substantial energy to them and thereby dramatically increase the chances that they will manifest. It might not be much of an exaggeration to say that your words are like orders placed with the universe, especially if you repeat the same words frequently and consistently and don't contradict them with conflicting thoughts, words, and deeds, which, by the way, is what most people are doing most of the time, having highly contradictory thoughts, words, and actions. That's why most people can't tell they're creating their reality. All their intentions and desires are canceling out, and the net effect is completely ambiguous, and very little of their true desires ever manifest. This point is eloquently hammered home by the renowned Law of Attraction teacher Abraham, as channeled by Escher Hicks, when he said, "When you no longer split your flow of energy with contradictory thoughts, you will know your power." Before I dive into the power of the spoken word and how to apply it deliberately and effectively, I wanted to give you a little bit of the backstory of how I discovered my creatorship and the power of the spoken word. Discovering my creatorship. In the time since my awakening in the spring of 2014, the correlation between my thoughts, intentions, and desires and what shows up in my life has been blatantly obvious. One of the strange things that started happening during the early stages of my awakening, before I figured out what the heck was going on, was an amazing amount of synchronicities, or very convenient coincidences, and lots of good luck. My rational mind found it very strange because it didn't seem like it should be possible to be that lucky. It seemed like some kind of magic was going on, or I was graced by the universe. Of course, when I stumbled upon the law of attraction, it all clicked. All those convenient coincidences and good luck were a sign that I was powerfully creating my reality with my thoughts. Needless to say, once you discover that you're creating your reality with your thoughts, there is no going back. So I dove into the study and application of the laws and mechanics of reality creation with a passion. I had a burning desire to become a master of manifestation. As I experimented with deliberate creation techniques, I was routinely manifesting undeniable results. Wow, this whole creator thing could be true. I considered the possibility that I might be going crazy, but after discovering that many other people were reporting the same kind of thing, I decided I wasn't. Whoa, I'm really a creator, and so is everyone else, whether they know it or not. Have you discovered your creatorship? Discovering the power of the spoken word. One of the things I noticed as I continued to experiment with and test my ability to manifest was that every time I passionately voiced my desires out loud, they manifested incredibly fast. The results were often startling, the closest thing to real miracles and magic I've ever experienced. Expressing a thought, intention, or desire verbally as words, regardless of who hears it, greatly amplifies its attractive and creative power. Even if you're the only one that hears it, You are making a statement to the universe, and this is a very powerful act. With my firsthand experience of this, it is now standard practice for me to passionately voice my desires and intentions out loud to the universe on a regular basis. Applying the power of the spoken word deliberately. There are a couple of ways that the power of your voice can be deliberately applied to enhancing your creation efforts. The first one is pretty obvious. When you are thinking about your desires and dreams and intentions, and when you're deliberately imagining and visualizing them, also shout it out to the universe. Be expressive. Say it strongly, say it passionately, say it loudly. Let the universe know how you really feel. I now pretty much voice out loud every intention and desire of any consequence that I have. Try it and then pay attention to what shows up. You'll be impressed. To really let loose with some very passionate and energetic voicing of your desires and intentions, you need to have adequate privacy. I often take walks alone in the woods and the hills, and this provides a good time for me to share my deepest hopes and dreams with the universe. Another time is when you're driving in your car alone, which for most of us is fairly frequently, especially when we're driving to and from work. A part of the reason that voicing your intentions and desires enhances your manifestations is based on the principles of the law of attraction. The law of attraction states that the more focus, attention, and clarity that you give a particular subject, the more powerfully you will attract the essence of it into your reality, and the more likely it is that it'll appear in your life. By having to put your intentions and desires into words, you are forced to formulate clear, concise statements, and hence you're increasing their clarity. And by saying them as well as thinking and imagining them, you're essentially repeating them, which is also increasing the amount of focus and attention you're giving them. And of course, anytime you turn your thoughts, desires, and intentions into sound, into words, either written or spoken, you're adding energy to them and thereby amplifying their manifestational power yet again. How often should you think about and voice your intentions, desires, and dreams? Frequently, because as I've said, the amount of attention and focus you give a subject is one of the primary determinants of how fast and well it will manifest. But be aware of two important things. Don't try to voice your desires if you're feeling down. You only want to do this when you're feeling in a very upbeat, happy mood, when you're in a high vibration, because the higher your vibration, the more powerful the effect of focused intention and desire will be. And pay attention to how you feel as you repeatedly voice your desires. You might be unwittingly bringing the subtle energy of fear and worry to the effort without realizing it if you're not attuned to your feelings. If you feel like you're repeating them because you're worried that they might not come to pass, then doubt has crept in and is beginning to cancel out the positive effect of voicing your desires. Sometimes it might be better to voice your desires just a few times very strongly and then just relax, trust, and focus on something else. And of course, to maximize your results, you want to combine voicing your intentions and desires with taking congruent action. Action is the strongest form of intention, and it is a powerful attractor. And here's the great part. It almost doesn't matter what you do as long as you do something. Small actions in the general direction of your intention or desire have a huge effect. Do you need to stress out about what actions to take? No, just follow your intuition. It's as simple as that. To dive deeper into the role of action and manifestation, check out my Law of Attraction Pearl of Wisdom number 7, Action Speaks Louder Than Words. Another way to employ the power of your spoken words is by using the deliberate creation tool known as affirmations, also sometimes called mantras. While affirmations are a well-known and popular manifesting tool, they can also be one of the least effective, simply because many people are not aware of the correct way to utilize them. Affirmations are statements, either spoken or written, that are frequently repeated to help reinforce empowering beliefs and positive feelings. In effect, they can be used to dissolve old disempowering beliefs and install new, more empowering ones. This function of affirmations is of crucial importance because beliefs play a pivotal role in what you can manifest. Your beliefs shape your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your reality. But affirmations have another function as well. They can reinforce positive feelings. And this is very important too because, as you may know, your feelings and emotion is what contributes most of the energy to your thoughts, and hence to the likelihood of their manifestation. Good feelings powerfully attract good things. Affirmations are not magical incantations that will transform specific aspects of your life overnight. They simply gradually alter your predominant point of attraction because their regular repetition increases the amount of focus and attention you're giving to the empowering beliefs and feelings that those statements represent. It's just a systematic way of doing this, making them a very powerful manifestation tool if used properly, which is the subject of the next section. Creating and using affirmations effectively. There is a subtle art and science to using affirmations. Picking an affirmation out of a hat or from a collection created by others will not necessarily be appropriate or effective for you. Affirmations are most effective when they're made highly specific to the individual. They should always be customized by you, for you. They should reflect your exact needs, stated in your own words and in your own way, and in a way that resonates with you deeply for best results. This is the danger of using pre-created collections of affirmations. You may not realize that they need to be customized to fit you. Also, the affirmations you use must be believable to you, or they won't work. This is another common pitfall of using affirmations. If they are too bold or audacious, that is, if they're not believable, they simply won't be effective. One of the main purposes of affirmations is to reprogram your subconscious beliefs. One of the reasons why they can do this is that as you repeatedly affirm a new belief, you will begin to attract experiences consistent with the new belief, which means you will begin to see evidence for the new belief. And seeing evidence will increase your confidence, and hence any contradictory beliefs will begin to dissolve and the new belief will begin to install. But you're not going to reprogram your beliefs by repeatedly saying something that conflicts too strongly with your current beliefs. This is where the subtle art of creating effective affirmations comes in, and where you can apply the technique that I call bridging. Bridging is a technique where you significantly tone down the affirmation and then gradually make it bolder as you become more confident. More about this in the next section. How can you tell if an affirmation will be effective? You can tell if an affirmation is going to be effective by the way it makes you feel when you say it. If you feel comfortable saying it, or better yet, if you feel good, positive, uplifted, inspired, motivated, enthusiastic, optimistic, etc., then it's going to be effective. If you don't feel comfortable when saying an affirmation, if you feel uneasy, anxious, uncomfortable, doubtful, pessimistic, uninspired, or neutral, it means the affirmation conflicts too strongly with your existing beliefs, or it triggers fears, or it isn't targeting what you really desire. And this means that the affirmation is not going to work until you adjust it. It's a fairly straightforward process to iteratively tweak an affirmation till it's believable and it feels right. It's pretty simple because you can tell by how you feel when you say it. If it doesn't feel right, just keep tweaking it. Here's an example of customizing and tweaking a confidence and success related affirmation. Here's the affirmation in its boldest form. I am a capable and successful person. How does that make you feel when you say that? If you're like many people who have low self-worth and who struggle to be successful, saying this will likely make you feel uneasy. Here's an example of how to tweak it to make it more believable and to feel better. I am learning to become more confident that I am a capable person every day. My success is increasing every day as I believe in myself and my dreams. Can you feel the difference? Get the idea? The book, The Power of Affirmations and the Secret to Their Success, provides other great examples and further instruction that will help you better understand how to create effective affirmations. So check out that book if you want to dive deeper into this subject. Maximizing the power of your affirmations. So let's talk about how to maximize the power of your affirmations. How often should you say your affirmations? You want to say them frequently, at least once a day for a while, perhaps less as it becomes more ingrained. Remember, by the law of attraction, the amount of attention and focus you give a subject is one of the primary determinants of how fast and well something manifests. Your repetition of an affirmation is more time focused on the subject of the affirmation, making it a much more powerful attractor. How should you say your affirmations for best results? Say them with as much passion, energy, conviction, and emotion as you can muster. The amount of emotion and energy that you express when saying an affirmation makes them proportionately more powerful and makes them dramatically more powerful than if you said them flatly. If you're having a hard time mustering enthusiasm when saying an affirmation, it might be because it's too bold and not believable to you, or perhaps not what you really desire, and you should consider revising it until enthusiasm comes naturally when you say it. And believe it or not, faking it is okay. If you can suspend your disbelief and muster something that feels like genuine enthusiasm when you say your affirmation, then more power to you. When and where to say your affirmations. Anytime where you have adequate privacy to express yourself strongly. Find those alone times and use them. And remember, don't do your affirmations if you're feeling down. You only want to say your affirmations when you're in a very upbeat, happy mood. This is when they'll have the best effect. Diving deeper into mastering affirmations. If you'd like to dive deeper into the topic of affirmations, then I highly recommend the book, The Power of Affirmations and the Secret to Their Success. This book explores the subtleties and nuances of creating and using affirmations effectively and includes a huge collection of them covering wealth and abundance, health and well-being, happiness and confidence, love and relationships, and success in career. Anyone thinking about adding affirmations to their deliberate creation toolbox should read this book first. Examples of applying the power of the spoken word. So to help you better understand deliberate creation and applying the power of the spoken word, here are a few personal examples from my own experience. Example number 1, dinner in Sedona. One of my most startling manifestations, bordering on the miraculous, happened when I was visiting Sedona, Arizona, in the United States. I went down there to attend a week-long spiritual retreat and to sightsee. I went low budget and I stayed in a campground, and I mostly ate out of a cooler with provisions purchased at the grocery store. Besides attending the retreat, I did a bunch of hiking in the beautiful desert mountains around Sedona. One day near the end of my trip, I heard about a restaurant called the POW Grill. It served grilled meals including vegetables and fish, fowl, or beef. That sounded really good to me, and I decided that I'd treat myself to a dinner out before I left town. On the day before my last day in Sedona, I went on a big all-day hike of one of the tallest mountains overlooking town. On the way up the mountain, I decided that I would go out to dinner that evening to the POW Grill. But I had a bit of a problem. I wasn't sure if I had enough time for dinner out. Some friends I had met at the campground had invited me to hang out in the pool with them that evening, and the pool closed at 8 p.m. I wasn't going to finish my hike till maybe 6:30 p.m., and it was a 30-minute drive back to the campground. If I stopped for a sit-down dinner at a restaurant, I might not make it back to the pool before it closed, and I'd miss the pool party. I also felt a little guilty about eating meat because I was trying to go vegan at the time. So there I was hiking down the mountain in the late afternoon, thinking about my desire to have a nice meal of grilled meat and vegetables and still being able to make the pool party before it ended. And as I often do, I started voicing my thoughts and desires out loud in a very animated and heartfelt way. Here's what I said as I talked to myself and the universe. I'm really looking forward to a nice meal of grilled meat and vegetables this evening. I've been real thrifty on this trip, and I deserve to have at least one dinner out on the town. I feel a little guilty because I'm trying to go vegan, but heck, in the bigger picture, there's no right and wrong or good or bad, so if I want to enjoy some grilled meat this evening, there's nothing wrong with that. I allow myself to have this nice dinner. But here's the thing, I don't want to miss the pool party either, and I'm not sure if there's enough time to do both. How can I have dinner and make the pool party too? Is there a way? So when I finally reached the trailhead parking lot, I noticed there was a man and a woman sitting at a picnic table with a barbecue grill. I waved and I smiled at them, and they lifted their wine glasses and shouted something to me that I didn't quite hear. So I went over to say hello to them. When I got within earshot, they said, "Want a glass of wine?" I'm not a very big wine fan, but somehow I knew that I should go with the flow, and so I said, "Heck yeah!" And I sat down at their picnic table as they poured me a glass of wine, and we introduced ourselves. It turned out that I had crossed paths with a delightful French family on a road trip of America. After our brief but very cordial introductory chat, they immediately asked, "Would you like to have dinner with us? It's ready now. Grilled steak, corn, and salad. Do you like?" With a big shit-eating grin on my face, I said, "Heck yeah, I'd love to join you for dinner." So this was it, the fulfillment of my desire, and in a way that I would have never imagined. a home-cooked grilled meal in a beautiful outdoor setting with a delightful French family. What could be better than that? And the dinner was ready as I arrived, which meant that all the overhead of a sit-down meal at a restaurant, waiting to order, waiting for it to be prepared and served, etc., was completely missing, and I would make my pool party in time. The universe had delivered the perfect solution to my desires, and fast. Can you say instant manifestation? I manifest my desires all the time, but this was indeed one of the most impressive. Can you see the connection between the approach I took and the results? When was the last time I was invited to an impromptu barbecue dinner by strangers? Never. So, the correlation between my desire and my stating my desire and this dinner arriving is, for me, indisputable. This experience poignantly illustrates many important aspects of powerful manifesting. Number one, passionately thinking and voicing your desires. Number two, allowing their fulfillment by releasing any blocks to receiving, e.g., undeservedness, unworthiness, limiting beliefs, etc. Note that I explicitly affirmed that I deserved a nice grilled dinner and that I would allow myself to have it despite a potential limiting belief that eating meat was bad. And number three, I didn't assume it wasn't possible, and I didn't insist how it should or could happen. I was open to a possible solution and left the how to the universe by asking the question, how can I have my grilled dinner and make the pool party too? Is there a way? This is how the magic works. And of course, it's not really magic. You exist within something very much like a virtual reality, and your every thought is attracting what appears on the screen that you call your life. This is just how creation works. Example number 2, finding a new apartment. So here is another personal example of how to do deliberate creation and apply the power of the spoken word. I recently was asked to leave the apartment I was renting due to an indiscretion which will remain anonymous, and I was really worried that it would make finding a new apartment extremely difficult because my reason for leaving was something that was going to be difficult to admit, and hence I wouldn't have a reference for my last place of residence. And the problem was I already felt like I had one handicap already, which made it more difficult to find apartments, which I won't get into, and now I had another. So I was quite worried that I might not be able to find an apartment within the 30 days notice that I had been given. I also was worried I might not find a place I'd like. I realized that the main problem in manifesting a new apartment would be my belief that I had these two major handicaps that might make it harder to find an apartment. So I attacked these limiting beliefs with the following affirmation. I am a creator. I can create anything I can imagine and believe. I give no credence to the perceived handicaps to finding a new apartment. They are only valid if I believe they are. And I know they are not because I know that I am creating my reality absolutely without exception based on my beliefs, thoughts, desires, and intentions. I also realized I needed to put out a strong, clear vision of what I wanted, so I passionately voiced and envisioned the kind of new place I was looking for. I desire a quiet, peaceful, cozy country apartment preferably with a view of the mountains and a walk in a field or woods nearby so I can see the stars at night clearly. This is how I deliberately combined a strong affirmation of unlimitedness with painting a powerful picture of what I desired. I repeated this 3 or 4 times over the course of a week while I was out on evening walks under the stars and while driving my car, and the results were astounding. Within 2 days of completing these affirmations, I stumbled upon an apartment that matched what I had envisioned and more. Not only did it have everything I deliberately imagined, but it also had a major feature that in hindsight I had been thinking about for over a month, but I hadn't included in my deliberate imagining and voicing. And get this, from the time I called the apartment owner till the time I had the keys in my hands was less than 1 hour and not a single question asked. Slam dunk! And here's a very interesting side note to this experience that poignantly illustrates the importance of action and trust in powerful manifestation. When I started looking at apartments, I must have looked at maybe 5 or 6, but I hadn't filled out an application for any of them. Part of the reason was that none of them were really a very good match to my desires, but also, if I was honest with myself, I was afraid to fill out the applications because I wasn't sure how I was going to handle the reason for leaving question that they all included. I didn't want to lie, but I also was very uncomfortable with telling the truth. So even though I was taking action by going out there and looking at apartments, it wasn't fully committed action because I hadn't filled out any applications yet. But then the first great apartment opportunity appeared. The serendipity was startling, but I won't regress. But I was terrified to fill out and submit the application because I still didn't know what I was going to do with the reason for leaving question. For the remainder of the day, I dragged my feet and delayed. To my surprise, that evening I got a very loud and clear and amusingly delivered message from the universe. In a nutshell, the message was this: trust. By the way, did I mention that I have a strong connection with my higher self and my spirit guides? The angels, the masters in the universe, as I sometimes refer to them. That's another story for another time. Anyways, I got this message, trust, from my guides. And I laughed and I said out loud, yes, of course. Trust and faith are the keys to powerful manifesting. Thanks for the reminder. This was my guide's way of letting me know that I was very close to manifesting my desired results, and a hint to take committed action. E.g., fill out the application, tell the truth, and to trust that everything would work out fine. So I decided to tell the absolute truth about my reason for leaving on every apartment application that I was going to fill out, and just trust the universe and let the chips fall where they may. Which is exactly what I did the next morning when I filled out my very first apartment application and emailed it. And not more than 5 seconds had passed after sending that application, that first application, when my intuition told me that I should check the Craigslist apartment listings again. My jaw dropped when I saw that the very first item in the apartment listing was a beautiful log cabin in the country near the mountains, just as I had been imagining and envisioning. Needless to say, I called the owner immediately. Can you come over now? They said. Heck yeah, I replied. And guess what? In less than 1 hour, I had the keys to that place. No questions asked. It was like the moment I confessed my sins, the universe rewarded me by instantly dropping the apartment of my dreams into my lap. Of course, it had very little to do with confessing my sins and much more to do with committed action and trust. I had finally filled out an application and sent it. That committed action was the signal to the universe of my serious intent and desire. And as soon as I committed, a perfect opportunity appeared instantly. Also, by choosing to tell the truth, no matter what, I was sending a strong signal to the universe that I trusted it to deliver my desire. Wow! That's one hell of a lesson on how committed action and trust influence the outcome of your manifestations. Jeff's Power Affirmation number 1. I'm going to try something new. I'm going to share my favorite Power Affirmations on a semi-regular basis. They'll be bold, advanced level affirmations, but I will also provide an example of how to tone them down for those that aren't ready for the stronger version, but want to get there. I'll also add little tidbits of wisdom about affirmations and deliberate creation as appropriate. So without further ado, here is my first Power Affirmation. Affirming your creatorship. This affirmation could be considered the mantra of powerful creators. It targets the root of your creational power by reinforcing your belief in your creatorship and reminding yourself of the key steps in powerful manifestation. Here it is. I am a creator. I am creating my personal reality with my thoughts, beliefs, focus, and more. I create my reality absolutely, without exception, regardless of whether I understand how, and hence I take full responsibility for everything that enters my direct experience. I exist within a field of infinite possibilities. Whatever I can imagine and believe can come to pass. Trust and faith are the key. I do not concern myself with how things will come to pass. I simply envision the desired outcome, take inspired action, and trust that it will appear in my reality at the perfect time and in the perfect way. This is a bold, perhaps even audacious affirmation of one's creatorship. Depending on where you're at with mastering manifestation and your creatorship, you may not be ready for one this bold. Just understanding the theory of the law of attraction is not enough. If you haven't noticed the correlations between your spontaneous or deliberate thoughts, intentions, and desires and what has been appearing in your life, then likely this affirmation will simply not be believable to you and hence will not be effective. This affirmation might be good to say when you're dealing with challenging situations involving apparent limitations or constraints, to remind yourself that all perceived limitations are only operative if you believe they are, and that by giving no credence to them, you can manifest best case outcomes. As an example of an alternative creatorship affirmation more appropriate for a beginner, consider this. I am learning to become a powerful, deliberate creator. Every day I am noticing more poignant examples of how my thoughts, intentions, and desires are correlated with what appears in my life. Every day I am becoming more convinced that I am indeed creating my reality absolutely without exception. Every day I am becoming a more masterful, deliberate creator. Believe it or not, This affirmation will attract information and experiences to you that will help you become a more confident and powerful, deliberate creator. And at some point, you will have the confidence to assuredly recite the bolder version of the Creator affirmation that I offered. Or perhaps you'll prefer to chant this delightful, lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek Creatorship affirmation that I offer here. Everything goes my way. Hooray, hooray. I get everything I want and more. Galore, galore. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this Law of Attraction Pearl of Wisdom. Please consider sharing or liking it or subscribing to my blog or my YouTube channel. Enjoy!